Students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. I hope everybody is having a lovely week so far, staying healthy and staying strong. Hi, Pavan. And of course, today is a special day for us Canadians because it is Canada Day. Today is Canada's birthday. Hi, Sammy. Welcome, members. This is a members chat class. To become a member of our channel, simply click the join button next to the subscribe button. This class is presented to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS success. Please visit us there for the general IELTS. Check us out at IELTShelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. On both of those websites, we have lots and lots of materials to help you improve your writing, your speaking, your reading, and your listening scores. Thank you, Jai Neal, for that happy birthday wish to Canada. Yeah. So, I'll show you what these websites quickly, I'll show you what they look like. This is our general IELTS website here at gieltshelp.com. You can click that big red button to join the premium package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access, so it's well worth it. And for the academic IELTS, it's the blue background here. Again, you can click that big red button to join our premium package there. It's worth a small investment to increase your band scores. We are an official British Council IELTS test registration center and certified agents, so you're in good hands with us. We have practice exams, computer-based, paper-based, video lessons with strategies, applications for your phone, and much, much more. All right, everyone, if you wish to ask me a question about IELTS or English, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. I will gladly answer your questions. Okay. Yeah, Sammy, there are heat waves in Canada right now, so we are experiencing a very warm Canada Day today. The hottest days were a couple of days ago in Victoria. We had record-breaking 42 and 43 degree hot temperatures. So, yeah, we've never recorded temperatures like this, not even close here. I'm not sure what the weather's like June in Calgary, but I'm guessing it's probably also hot. I heard it's going to be getting hotter in Calgary this week, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, everyone. So we've got lots of lessons this week. We have task 2 right now. We'll have a reading class for everyone afterwards. Yeah, so June says also 38, 39 degrees in Calgary. Yeah, so it's nice and warm. And who said Canada was a cold place, right? All right. And then we'll have more writing tomorrow. We'll have a Q&A session for members this week, a speaking part 3 for everyone. Let's check out today's writing task 2. All right. Bin, I'm sorry to hear that British Council is canceling exams again in India. And Sammy, happy birthday to you. You share a birthday with Canada. That's fantastic. All right, everyone. So here we go. Let's get into the lesson today. This is our task 2 question. In the writing section, it is very important that you remind yourself to slow down your reading a little bit after the reading section. So in the reading section, you maybe got reading really quickly. But in the writing section, when you read the questions, really read them slowly and carefully. Okay, let's read this together. So, IELTS Task 2 writing, you should spend about 40 minutes on this task. Do check the time. Make sure that you're spending 40 minutes on Task 2 and 20 minutes on Task 1. Okay, as certain regions of the world become increasingly warmer, people are forced to find alternative solutions for places to live. Discuss the causes and consequences of this change. Include explanations and examples for your argument. Write at least 250 words. So we're kind of on topic today with this warm weather and how that's impacting life on Earth for people. All right. So I've read this question. Now, what do I want to do, members? So when I read a question, what should I do? So June says, today's practice really reflects reality. Yeah, June, I tried to come up with task 2 questions that IELTS would also ask you. So IELTS would easily ask you a question like this for task 2. And also something that gets you excited and interested and it's provocative. So yeah, that's I was inspired by recent weather patterns for this question. Okay. All right. So what do we do? What's the first step? Yeah, so gliding waves, it's a causes and effects essay, absolutely. And Nick Hill says, firstly, paraphrase the question. Yeah, so let's do that. So I'm going to paraphrase, you paraphrase. Paraphrasing helps us to clearly understand the question. It helps to generate ideas and generate vocabulary. So that's why you should always paraphrase. Paraphrasing the question isn't necessarily your introduction. It's not necessarily your introduction, but it's certainly helpful and it could be a part of your essay. Okay, so okay, so here's my paraphrase. As some parts of the planet continue to experience higher temperatures, citizens must find different opportunities for survival. Discuss the reasons and outcomes of this change. So I have it paraphrased all the way to here. And then, of course, include explanations and examples. So support your position with explanations and real instances, right? So real cases, okay? So here I have a paraphrase of the question. Now I have a much better idea of what I need to write, and I can start thinking more deeply about this question. June writes, because of the increasing temperature in some areas of the globe, some individuals have no choice but to seek new sites for living, new locations. Instead of sites, June, I would use the word locations there, new locations for living. Talk about the reasons as well as the results for this alteration. Yeah, alteration's a little bit awkward here, so I would say change, give. So elaborate and give instances to defend your thesis. Very good, June. I like that last bit there, defend your thesis. Andre, long time no see. Good to see you in here, Andre. Andre writes, today in some places temperatures are increasing and individuals must search for suitable places to live. Talk about the solutions and the reasons and give your explanation. Okay, so talk about the reasons and the outcomes. I don't know about solutions here. Pavan says visualize the topic. Yeah, I agree. That's definitely a great step. Visualizing, Pavan, is always a good suggestion. It's always a good idea. We should be visual thinkers, visual learners throughout the process. So visualization, critical thinking is actually something that we should be doing continuously. All right. We have a good amount of members joining in now. That's fantastic to see. Rajveer says, some parts of the world experience unprecedented hot temperatures, and inhabitants of these places must relocate to different regions for survival. Explain the reasons and the ramifications of this change. Okay, very good, Rajveer, and you've paraphrased the rest of it. Devansh Sami, good. All right, let's discuss the topic. So, what are we talking about here? So, if we read this question and someone comes up to you and says, well, what are we really talking about here? What would you say to that? So, what would you say to that question of what are you having to discuss for this question? What's the topic? Andre says climate change. Partly. It's a little bit more than just climate change. All right. So the topic here is more than just high temperature. Okay. A little bit more. Keep thinking about it. We're not just talking about high temperatures. I think that's a little bit too broad. So Sammy says we're talking about people changing their habits due to weather changes. Yeah, I think, Sammy, you're much closer. Yeah. June says the fact that people have to look for alternative places for survival due to increasing temperatures in their regions. June, that is the topic. Try to be concise. Okay, so try to be concise. Okay, so what I mean, June, is try to write it in as short of way as possible. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words. I think all of the ideas are there. So global warming affecting human habitat. That's what we're talking about, okay? I think that's the most accurate. Here, let me center it a little bit more. Yeah, okay. So Deepika says, Adrian, your screen is not centered. Okay, there, now it's more centered, right? Okay. Everybody good with that now? Yeah? Okay. So global warming affecting human habitat. That's what we're talking about. All right. And what's the controlling idea? Okay. You're always kind of looking for this concise topic and concise controlling idea. Concise means writing it in as short of way as possible. And yes, you can. If you don't know the words when you're practicing at home, use a dictionary. But remember that you should be able to come up with a nice, concise way to say it. Okay? All right. So what's the controlling idea? What are we really looking at specifically when we're talking about? So the question, I guess, for the controlling idea, you could say is, well, okay, so what are we really discussing in connection to this topic? So what is your essay seeking to explore? Because there's a lot of information with this topic. You could write a book, but what are we really just focusing on with the topic of global warming affecting human habitat? Yeah, very good. So Rajveer says it's basically the second half of the question in task 2 always. So it's the reasons for the change and the consequences of this. Yeah, so reasons for this and the consequences. Absolutely. Okay. So then we apply critical thinking. Okay. And many of you know this already. So we ask some questions, right? And the questions are, what why, and how primarily. By the way, it's not only these questions. You can also ask questions like who, when, where, all right? When you are writing an essay for university, your critical thinking should involve more questions. The more questions, the better. When you're writing a master's thesis for university, of course, you have lots of time and you have lots of questions for this critical thinking element. It's probably the biggest part of your master's studies is to ask these questions about your thesis and your topic. All right, but here we focus mostly on the what, why, how. So Rajveer says the first question that we should ask is, what does it mean that global warming is affecting human habitat? Yeah, good. So let's ask that. So what does it mean that global warming is affecting human habitat? Okay, so let's answer that question. What does it mean that global warming is affecting human habitat? And we already know from reading the question that there are places in the world that are becoming hotter. So try to be a little bit more specific here. Don't just simply repeat the question. Don't just simply say some parts of the world are becoming warmer, so people have to seek other places for survival. But actually give it a little bit of thought and give it a more specific answer, okay? So this is where you digress, you go deeper with your ideas so that you can really come up with some good original language for your essay, because that's what's going to get you those high band scores, right? Okay, we have a new member. I can't read the Cyrillic. Can you please tell me your name in English? Is it Mark or Matthew? I don't know, but please tell me. Welcome to our group of members, okay? So please let me know your name in English. All right, Andre says it's Maxim. Okay, thank you, Andre, for helping me with that. Okay, so what does it actually mean global warming is affecting human habitat? Okay, there's a clear answer to that. Okay. And you should be able to give it to me. I'm going to write it down. Let's see if you come up with the same. I'm going to be quiet, so if you don't want to get a hint, then don't look at the screen. Okay. Sammy says global warming, which makes individuals' lives uncomfortable, like health issues, changes in natural climates. Okay. Gliding wave says increasing levels of CO2 causing temperatures to rise. I think gliding waves, you're answering the why question. Okay. So all right. Nishi, welcome to our group of members as well. It's nice to have new members on board. All right. So Rajveer writes, people around the globe are experiencing temperatures more than 40 degrees Celsius and are forced to relocate to some cooler places in order to survive. Good, Rajveer. So you're kind of in line with my answer as well. I've written some places, especially equatorial climate zones. The equator is the line that goes around the center of our planet. It's the 0-degree parallel, okay? Are becoming too hot, 45 degrees plus. And people are forced to move to cooler, more northern and southern climates. Okay, so that's what it means that global warming is affecting human habitat. So, okay, that's my definition. All right. Deepika says the increase in temperatures makes snow areas and icebergs melt there by the sea level rise, causing floods and water accidents. Deepika, I think that's a little bit off topic, okay? Devansh says, due to industrialization, increase in concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere is affecting the environment's natural cycle. Devansh, again, you're jumping a question. So you're going into the why questions, okay? Make sure that you have clear separation among the what, why, how in the video, okay? All right, welcome new members, Mandeep, Goad 7, all right. Welcome to Maxime as well. Join in on the chat. I'd love to have your responses, okay? All right, and Rajveer is saying the next question we should ask is, why is this happening, right? So, why? I would be a little bit more specific here, just so we have clear separation between our controlling ideas and our topics, okay? So, why are people forced to change their habitat due to increasing temperatures? Okay, so before you start thinking about the reasons for global warming, so the reasons for these hot temperatures like greenhouse gases, etc., I would ask another why question. Why are people forced to change their habitat due to increasing temperatures? So why do you think people move? So why are they like, okay, it's too hot, I gotta get out of here, I gotta go find a new place, I'm gonna move to Northwest Territories or Yukon in North Canada where I can be comfortable. So why are people doing that? Okay, so are they dying from the heat? Maybe. What other side effects, what other impacts does hot temperature have for humans? So why do people in some countries in the Middle East or Africa or Central America, why are they feeling like, okay, I got to get out of here? What's the reason? Okay, I'm going to answer this question. You do the same and then we'll compare. All right. All right. Yeah, very good. So Pavan says skin cancer. So lots of different kinds of health threats, right? So health threats. And this is where, of course, you're thinking about the vocabulary that's going to be useful in your essay that will make it unique and make it better than everybody else who is also sitting the IELTS exam. So Sammy says unbearable heat causes sunburn and skin cancer. Also, people lose their lives due to heat. Yeah, Rashika says they can't endure the temperature, and health issues such as dehydration and burning and the destruction of their agricultural system. Yeah. Rajveer says people face health issues due to UV rays and increased temperatures. Yeah, very good. So people are having difficulty being productive and staying healthy in places where there are extremely high temperatures. They are forced into air-conditioned environments to avoid heat and sunstroke. Now that might actually be one word. I'll check. Heat stroke and sunstroke. Yeah, I think heat stroke, I think they're both single words. Yeah, heat stroke and sunstroke. Yeah, as one word each. Okay. So heat stroke, you're getting too much heat, and sunstroke is simply getting too much sun. So you don't necessarily even need the heat, just lots of sun can cause difficulties as well. Okay. Good. Maxime says, due to the comfort purposes, people have to change their habitats, like change office from sunny side to the shadowy side. Maxime, I think that's a little bit off topic. You have to be a bit more specific to the concept of increasing global temperatures. Okay. All right. Okay. And then we think of the next question, which is, how does this happen? So, and when you think about the question, how does this happen? Think about a real world example. Okay, so think about something that's real. All right, I'm going to write down a real world example, and this is, you do this to get the concepts going for your body paragraphs, for the examples in your body paragraphs. So how does this happen? I'll write down a real world example, you write one down, and then we'll take a look. Okay, so all right. I thought it was Abu Dhabi, but Abu Dhabi? Abu Dhabi? I don't know, maybe. Okay. All right. So how does this happen? My real world example is Abdullah in Abu Dhabi is experiencing 55-degree temperatures. He feels that he's going to faint from heat stroke and decides to move to Toronto, Canada. So that would be kind of like an example of how this happens, of a person relocating. All right. Akshay, welcome to our group of members. Okay. All right. Let's see. Anybody else come up with some examples? Andriy Uskov says, today technological progress contributes to the fact that we have a temperature increase of 1.5 degrees relative to previous records. Okay. Deepika, this would be a third person voice essay based on the question. So no I, me, my, no you. It's the third person objective voice. If somebody's not clear on the voices of the essay that Deepika is asking about, make sure to review those. There are 3 voices of the author: first person, second person, third person. Each one are unique. An essay should only have one voice. This one has the third person voice. Okay, that answers your question, Deepika. All right. Some of you are answering and thinking critically about the controlling ideas. Make sure that when you're practicing planning your ideas for essays, you separate your critical thinking between the topic and the controlling idea. So the topic is global warming is affecting human habitat. What, why, how? The controlling idea is the reasons for this and the consequences. Okay, so here, now that I'm done thinking what, why, how about the topic, I can ask what, why, how about the controlling idea. So here I can say, okay, what are the reasons for global warming forcing people to move? Okay, so here I would focus more on the concept of the actual controlling ideas and what are the reasons. So this is where I would say increasing greenhouse gases, especially CO2. And what else? So we have increasing amount of greenhouse gases, CO2. Are there any other reasons, do you think, for global warming? So is it only humans that are causing global warming? What do you think? I'm actually very curious about people's thoughts around this. I have some theories of my own, and I'm just curious if some people share those thoughts or have similar ideas. So let me know, all right? Rajveer says citizens in British Columbia in Canada are moving to New Zealand to avoid the heat dome as the temperature is soaring to 47 degrees. Yeah, Rajveer, that's what I'm thinking is Canada might not be cold enough in some places in the near future as well. Paulo Reese says, I follow a Brazilian YouTuber that lives in Vancouver. She's been able to spend her day only in her garage. Everywhere else is really hot. Yeah. Pavan says the big reason of global warming is cutting down trees and increasing CO2. Sammy says temperature increases due to greenhouse gases and deforestation. So increasing greenhouse gases, CO2, and deforestation, as well as the natural change of surface temperatures as the Earth changes its position in relation to the sun. So here we can get into a little bit of fun debate, but just some food for thought, everyone. So keep in mind that we are this... So yes, humans are having an effect, and yes, destroying forests is definitely bad. At the same time, humans tend to think we are the start and end of all change that happens around us. I beg to disagree. We are actually this very small speck of sand. So this is the Earth here, this little dot. And of course, this is our sun, which is a giant ball of fire. And humans tend to have this beautiful kind of dream or belief that this small speck of sand, our Earth, rotates around the sun in the exact same way, in the exact same location year after year, which is not true. This changes, okay, this path around the sun and the alignment of the Earth as well. So there are actually very drastic climate change and weather change that happens on Earth, and it doesn't necessarily take millions of years. That's a false belief that it takes thousands or millions of years for that to happen. We have had ice age 10,000 years ago. We have had another mini ice age about 1,000 years ago. And we have had some very extreme weather patterns, even in recorded history, just from the changing kind of trajectory of the Earth and rotation of the Earth around the sun. So I don't think it's purely human. I think, we're responsible for a lot as humans, but I don't think we're responsible for as much as we think we are. I think that climate change would happen on Earth even if we didn't have cars, or even if we weren't cutting down trees. That's the price of being a small grain of sand flying around a giant fireball. So that's just my thought. So increasing greenhouse gases, CO2 deforestation, as well as the natural change of surface temperatures as the Earth changes its position in relation to the sun. Okay? All right, all of that is happening. So cutting down trees and creating CO2 gas probably isn't the best here. Okay. All right, damaged ozone layer. Okay, so that's the what are the reasons. That kind of answers the why is this happening. Now, we should ask another question here before we construct our introductory paragraph, right? So I would ask the question, what are the, what do you think? What's the question that I want to ask before I start putting together my introductory paragraph? So we have, what are the reasons for global warming? Okay, we have increasing greenhouse gases, CO2. That's leading to problems in the atmosphere, thinner ozone layer, okay, deforestation. What else? Yeah, exactly, Rajveer. Think about the question. So what are the consequences? Think about the full question. So what are the consequences of people moving from very hot to cooler areas? Okay, so what are the consequences of this? So when people are moving from very hot parts of the world to cooler parts of the world, what are the consequences? And I think this is going to be an extremely important question for people to start asking over the next 5, 10, 20 years. So I'm going to write down some of what I think are the consequences. Okay. All right. Sammy says increase in population in certain areas. Yeah, Sammy, that's exactly what I have. So increasing population density in certain regions, soaring real estate prices. So real estate, houses and homes becoming very expensive in some part of the world. Okay, so all right, let's get into some of the really meaty consequences. So increasing human competition for survival and conflict, right? So people might eventually start to fight to live in places that are survivable, okay? June says, results, lack of workforce impedes the development of countries in tropical zones. Yeah, absolutely. So that's the other side of it, right? So decreasing development in hot regions of the world, right? Andre says illness as well. Yeah, especially in the hot zones. Okay. All right. Okay, good. All right, so we have lots of great information here. Let's go back to the top and review. Here we go. So topic, let's go back to the question. Okay, let's go all the way. When you're at home and you're writing an essay and you've done your critical thinking, what you should really do is go back to the question, read it, read your critical thinking. At home, you should write down all of your questions and answers, your topic, your controlling idea. In the IELTS exam, you're doing this all in your head, so it's much faster. You're doing it in just 2-3 minutes. But at home, you're training yourself to do this, okay? So here we go. IELTS Task 2 Writing. You should spend about 40 minutes on this task. As certain regions of the world become increasingly warmer, people are forced to find alternative solutions for places to live. Discuss the causes and consequences of this change. Include explanations and examples for your arguments. The topic is global warming affecting human habitat. The controlling idea is reasons for this and the consequences. Okay? So what does it mean that global warming is affecting human habitat? It means that some places, especially equatorial climate zones, are becoming too hot, 45 degrees plus, and people are forced to move to cooler, more northern and southern climates. Why are people forced to change their habitat due to increasing temperatures? Well, people are having difficulty being productive and staying healthy in places where there are extremely high temperatures. They are forced into air-conditioned environments to avoid heat stroke and sunstroke. Okay. How does this happen? Well, maybe Mr. Abdullah in Abu Dhabi is experiencing 55-degree temperatures. He feels he's going to faint from heat stroke and decides to move to Toronto, Canada. What are the reasons for global warming forcing people to move? Increasing greenhouse gases, CO2 deforestation, as well as the natural change of the surface temperature as the Earth changes its position in relation to the sun, is increasing temperatures by more than 1 degree each year. Okay. What are the consequences of people moving from very hot to cooler areas? Increasing population densities in certain regions, soaring real estate prices, increasing human competition for survival and conflict, decreasing development in hot regions of the world. Okay, good. So now we have all of the information necessary to write a really good essay. All right. So we can now create our introductory paragraph comfortably, starting with a hook. Okay. Your hook introduces the topic. It's short and interesting. Okay. So go ahead and write the hook for this essay. All right? Go ahead and write the hook. Now, again, the topic here is global warming is affecting human habitat. All right? So I'm going to write a hook, you write a hook, and then we'll compare that. Okay? Okay, there's my hook. Global warming is forcing a major shift in the habitat of billions of human lives. All right. So again, introducing the topic, making it something interesting. One way to create impact with humans is often to refer to our sheer numbers. There's billions of us. And obviously, global warming is now starting to affect not just millions, but billions of people. Okay? Sammy says, nowadays, global warming causes humans to seek cooler habitats. Okay, Sammy, a little bit of correction. Nowadays, comma, global with the small g, global warming is causing humans to find cooler habitats. Okay, that'll be better. Akshay says nowadays climate change is enormously affecting habitats. Okay, climate change, Akshay, small c. Okay, nowadays climate change, not climate change, so watch your spelling, is enormously affecting. So adverb, verb, not verb, adverb, okay? And human habitats, not just habitats. We want to say human habitats. That's why I added the word human lives as well. So it's clear who we're talking about, okay? All right. Andre says global warming forces people to seek the best locations in the world. Andre, be really careful with your grammar and word choice. Otherwise, it's confusing. Students, do not make mistakes in your hook. It looks really bad when your first sentence is unclear and has mistakes. Okay? June says, these days we are concerned about the detrimental effects that global warming has on people's lives. June, a little bit too long and a little bit too general. Okay? Global warming has a lot of different effects on human lives. It's not just forcing them to move to cooler areas. So it's not bad, June, but I would be a little bit more concise. So work on being concise, June. Okay, that's the key word for today for you is concise. All right. Deepika says global warming is very much a concern because it causes migration of people to cooler areas. Yeah, Deepika, that's actually very good. I like your use of the word migration. Just make it concise. So global warming is forcing mass migration of humans. Okay, that would be a really good one as well. So here's an alternative one that is inspired by Deepika using the word migration. So global warming is forcing unprecedented, means never before seen. So global warming is forcing unprecedented migration of humans these days. Yeah, so that would be a very nice hook. It's using a great lexical resource. It's right on par with the question. I actually think it's better than even this one. So global warming is forcing unprecedented migrations or migration of humans these days. That's very good. All right. Maxime says nowadays climate change influences many parts of people's lives. Nowadays climate change has a great influence on people's habitats. Maxime, keep as much to the question as possible. Okay. Janelle says people talk to each other about the Earth's temperature increases every year. I think that's a bit weak, Janelle. It's not so much talking about the climate change, it's actually what it's doing, okay? So you want your hook to be strong, Janelle, okay? So no, I wouldn't go with that hook, Janelle. All right, so good. We have our hook, and now we want the background. And the background here is quite simple because all I have to do is simply take some of my answers from my critical thinking and I can put it into the background. So a good introduction has background, which means a definition and importance of the idea. So in your background, you're really just giving a definition and the importance of the idea. Okay. So all I've done is taken the answers to the why questions and I've just plopped them in. So let me read it and make sure it makes sense. So global warming is forcing a major shift in the habitat of billions of human lives. Some places, especially equatorial climate zones, are becoming too hot, 45 degrees plus, and people are forced to move to cooler, more northern and southern climates. People are having difficulty being productive and staying healthy in places where there are extremely high temperatures. They are forced into air-conditioned environments to avoid heat strokes and sunstroke. And now I put in my thesis. Okay, and my thesis here, of course, is going to be the causes and consequences. And for that, all I need to do is look at this part here and look at this part here, okay? And then I want to make it concise. So here I have a lot of information, increasing greenhouse gases, deforestation, and then also say natural change of the surface temperature. So I want to make that shorter, basically 2-3 words, and then the outcomes here, or the consequences. And again, I want to make this concise. So watch what I'm going to do. Now, I encourage you to try this, write your own thesis, and then we'll compare. But it's not that difficult when you know what you need to do. Watch. So okay. So my thesis here is both human activity and natural change is causing this phenomenon, and the consequences are increased competition and conflict. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of correction here, reviewing, and the consequences are increasing competition and conflict. Okay. All right. So basically, the CO2, the greenhouse gases from burning fossil fuels and deforestation, I just called that human activity. Okay. So human activity is part of the cause of this. And then the change of surface temperature because of the change of the Earth's alignment to the sun. I'm just going to call that natural change. I can explain that more in the body paragraphs. Okay, it's the body paragraph where I'm going to go into more detail about those causes. And then for the consequences, higher real estate prices, less work, more work. It's increasing competition and possibly conflict. And I can explain that in my second body paragraph. Okay, so I'm done my introductory paragraph. Now I'm going to read it again and see if I can make it a little bit clearer, more concise, more to the point, to really push for that Band 9 level writing. Now, some of you are thinking, whoa, really? That's what I have to do for a Band 9 in the IELTS? Yes, it is. And to do that, you really have to practice this at home so that you can do a lot of this in your head during the exam and so that you can do it quickly. Okay, all right. So let's go from the top. Global warming is forcing a major shift in the habitats of billions of human lives. Some places, especially equatorial climate zones, that's an additive clause, are becoming too hot, 45 degrees plus, and people are forced to move to cooler, more northern and southern climates. Okay, I'm going to simplify my grammar here a little bit. People have, and instead of people, I'm going to say individuals, just because I have people right above. So people, so here I'm going to go individuals, have difficulty being productive and staying healthy in places of extremely high temperatures, semicolon, they are forced into air-conditioned environments to avoid heat stroke and sunstroke. Both human activity and natural change is causing this phenomenon, and the consequences are increasing competition and conflict. Okay, now I am confident that this is an original, accurate introductory paragraph that is answering this task 2 question. Okay. All right, so tomorrow, members, we are going to look at writing the body paragraphs and the conclusion based on this thesis statement, okay? The reason I didn't ask you to write backgrounds at this point is because we already had it from the planning. Welcome, Sam Hexor, near the end of the class. I'm happy to see lots of new members in today. Hopefully you'll be back tomorrow to finish the rest of this essay. Oh, and by the way, hang around. We do have another class where everybody will be able to join the chat. It will be a reading class coming up in 30 minutes, okay? So this was a third-person essay, students. I see some first-person voice in some of your writing, so keep it in mind. All right, everyone. Visit us at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and glshelp.com for general IELTS. Our academic IELTS website looks like this. Click that big red button to join our premium package, get all of our HD videos. This is our general IELTS here with the green background. Click that big red button to join our premium package there. I will be back in 30 minutes with some academic reading. We will read, I will talk strategies, and we will practice and answer some questions together. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from beautiful and very warm Victoria on Canada Day. I hope to see you all in 30 minutes. Bye for now.